Hey there, Paul Mack here. I got another question from a viewer. This one is from Alexander Payne, 1754, and he says, "Really great video as always. What crops are your favorite to grow in your garden?" Well, Alexander, for a crop to be my favorite, it depends on 7 characteristics or criteria that vegetable or crop might possess. For one thing, it needs to be easy to grow. I can't think of anything easier to grow than a turnip, or turnip greens, I should say. Number 2, it needs to be easy to save seed or to propagate, sort of like okra. By the way, if you learn to eat okra and turnip greens, you will never starve. A couple of the easiest things to grow. And okra is one of those things that's just easy to save the seed. All you got to do is let the pod dry, crinkle it around, and let the seeds fall in a bucket. You're done. Easy to save seeds. I love that about some vegetables anyway. The third thing, is it acclimated to my area? I've got this one dark red butter bean that I love, and it is drought resistant, which we get a lot of dry weather, a lot of dry summers, and this butter bean does not care. It just keeps on going. When I've got green bean leaves that are finally about to wilt, late June, after they put on in July, they start wilting. This butter bean, the leaves on this butter bean just keeps on going. As a matter of fact, toward late summer, like August, September, it'll start blooming again and have a whole second wind and a whole nother crop. It's one of my favorite butter beans, but the thing I like about it is that after growing it a while, which a lot of vegetables, maybe all vegetables are this way, after you grow it a while in your area and you save the seed, it acclimates itself. The seeds that you save next year will be somewhat more acclimated to your area because they were the ones that survived. Number 4, does it store or keep well? Is it something that you can preserve for the winter, for winter eating, winter meals very easily? Or do you have to go to a lot of trouble to can it or to pickle it or to preserve it or whatever? I like vegetables that are very simple. You dig them, you put them up, you're done. You eat them later. The 5th criteria I like, is it traditional for my area? Corn, for instance. I grow a lot of varieties that people have typically grown in this area. You know, the seed catalogs are full of all kinds of vegetables that come from all kinds of places, sometimes all over the world. But typically, a good thing to do, and this is just common sense, is to look around and see what the old timers grow, because most of the time they kind of had it figured out after, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of farming. They kind of know some things. So watch what your old timers do. If it traditionally grew in your area, it's probably going to be working out pretty good for you too. The 6th thing I like about most of the vegetables I grow them for sentimental reasons. I've got a couple of varieties of cowpeas that have been in my family. One of them since about the Civil War, and another one, we call it the Daniel Whippoorwill. My grandpa on my mother's side, Pa Daniel, he was the sharecropper, and this was a particular little brown speckled whippoorwill pea that he grew and saved the seeds for years. And so those things are, when you have them in your family, seeds that your parents grew, your grandparents grew, your great-grandparents grew, or even on back to, the middle of the 1800s, that's kind of neat. It's just kind of neat. So sentimental reasons. Lastly, this is the big deal. I love to eat it. That's the main criteria. If it's something that tastes good, and I just, don't get between me and a plate of beans and cornbread. I just love it. I could have it every meal, and leftovers are even better. So that's the main deal. Is it a vegetable that you love? The things I grow, I tend to love to eat. If you didn't, why bother? Most everybody starting out in homesteading, or you got a little bit of a property and you try your hand at gardening, everybody tends to get infatuated with the seed catalogs. I know because I did when I was a younger man. I'd look through those seed catalogs and I'd think, man, I want to grow that. Oh, I want to grow that one too, and that one, and that one. And pretty soon you're growing like 12 different varieties of beans and trying to keep them from crossing with one another, which can be a trick. Some people enjoy doing that with multitudes of different varieties of beans. After a while, it got to where I was wearing myself out, labeling everything and making sure I was keeping it from crossing with the other thing. And after several years, I thought, why am I doing this? And so I started only growing the things that I really, really liked or had, this other criteria stored well, it had sentimental value, was traditional for my area, and concentrated on those things. And once I started doing that, it really helped me to enjoy the gardening even more. I mean, I always enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it even more when it was simplified and just not so many things that I was keeping track of. And you too will eventually, the more you garden, I know that you probably love to garden or you wouldn't be doing it, but the more you garden, the better it gets, especially when you simplify and grow those things that you love to eat and have some meaning for you. And sometimes folks starting out, they think about the old timers and our settler forefathers and foremothers and how that they were so healthy because they ate a variety of things. They lived off what they planted and what they cultivated and what they harvested, and it was a multitude of things. Well, I don't know about other places in the world, but generally in the South, the diets were not as varied as one might think. I mean, they were working hard. They were healthy people, don't get me wrong, but my mother didn't even know, I don't even think she knew what broccoli was until she was an adult. I doubt she had ever seen it growing up a sharecropper's daughter and all. And other things like that. Their diets were very simple. And if you go on back, early 1900s and even into the 1800s, especially the settlers in this area, they didn't start populating this area until about 1840s, and maybe a few were in here before that. And if you look at the census for the middle of the 1800s, about the 1850 census is when, as far as I understand it, is when they started actually reporting what people actually grew, what they had in their storehouses or their barns or their cribs, as far as corn, potatoes, and basically their diet was pork, corn, and sweet potatoes. I mean, those were the three staples, and it kept them healthy, it kept them alive. Of course, they worked really, really hard, and that matters too. They didn't just sit around all the time. But their diets were very simple, and I like emulating that as well because it simplifies my life. I don't need to eat, nothing against it, kohlrabi. Looks like something a Martian would eat. But I keep my diet fairly simple. Those are the things that I like to eat and simplifies my life. And anything that makes my farming simple, I want to do. So as you go along with your journey, your lifelong journey with homesteading and farming and so forth, you're going to find those foods and vegetables that are easy to grow, easy to propagate, and that you love and that have some meaning to you, and you're going to want to concentrate on those things primarily. It'll change your life, it'll make your life simpler, and you'll just enjoy the simplicity of those foods. They never get old. I don't know, beans and cornbread, it just never gets old. I can't tell you why that is. So, life is short. Pick the crops that you like to eat and that you want to farm and that you want to cultivate and raise. I hope that answers your question, Alexander. If you have a particular criteria that you like in your crops or vegetables that you like to raise, please leave that in the comment section. We'd all love to read about that. And if you have a question about anything else farm related, leave that in the comment section. And by the way, if you're ever in our area of Southwest Arkansas, swing by our little general store that my family and I own, Gap Mercantile in beautiful Cattle Gap, Arkansas. I carry my seeds there that I grow, some of my favorite seeds that I grow here on the farm, including that famous butterbean and the peas that have been in my family. I'm not going to mail them to you. You got to come get them. I'm just not going to mail them Sorry. We've also got jellies, jams, souvenirs, t-shirts, soda pop, candy, antiques, collectibles, and even some great farm tools. Can you believe that? Go to the Gap Mercantile page on my website, farmhandscompanion.com, and find more information there. I'll include the link in the description below. I'm Paul Mack. Until next time, I'll talk at you later. Happy farming! And I confess disappointment that you didn't include the splitting of the rails, but I did that on another video. I split the whole log. You should make a video about splitting those rails. It's an art in itself. I did. I love it. Now we need a video on how to make the split rails, the old-fashioned. Okay, listen up. You three. I'm going to have to, I hate to have to do this, but I'm going to have to ban you from watching the show for a period of time. I know it's harsh, but I've got to get my point across. You must watch all my videos. Watch them all. Every single one of them, or you're going to miss something. So, therefore, you three, I'm going to have to ban you from watching. Not too long, maybe just a month. Maybe just a month. No watching the channel. That's too harsh. It's too harsh. Stay away from the Farm Hands Companion channel for just a day. That still seems harsh. Okay, I'm letting you off the hook this time. You can keep watching the videos, but you've got to watch them all.